So what is up, everyone on YouTube? I've had this car for over a year. And if you know, I had the DCT first. I had nearly 3 years of seat time and 70,000 miles, I believe, on that DCT. Maybe it was 60,000 miles. I did a lot of driving with that car, and now I can tell you the differences that I've noticed throughout all of the time owning the DCT and the 6-speed. And sometimes you might ask, like, hey, do you still think the 6-speed is the better buy? It's also $3,000 cheaper for the manual than the DCT. I'm gonna be honest with you on this one, guys. I still think the manual is the go-to car for an Elantra N. 100%. Wow, nice signal. So I say this because it depends on what you want. That's also a thing, right? Like, if you're in traffic a lot, then all right, maybe the DCT, go ahead. That DCT, that wet 8-speed, is actually really good for what it is. It's amazing. It made me like the car a lot, very much so. This manual makes me love the car even more. So if I had to do it all again, I'd probably get another 6-speed. If I have a 6-speed already, then I would get a DCT. So here are the reasons why. Right out the gate, more miles per gallon. It might have to do more with tune on that, but I get way better gas mileage in the manual than I do the DCT, than I did. A lot of times I averaged about, maybe, let's say on the highway. On the highway I averaged, I'd say anywhere between 27 and 30. Whereas on the highway in this, I'm averaging anywhere between 35 and 38. Maybe 40 if I'm extra nice to it. It costs the same to fill up, but still, like I said, when it comes to miles per gallon on the highway, the manual is better. Again, if you're in traffic, that's when you opt for the DCT. The DCT does, like, if you're coming from a manual car and you're like, man, I don't know if I still want to do manual. If you're on the fence, go drive both of them. The DCT is great. Again, me coming from a manual car before, I had a Mustang V8, of course, and I went to the DCT. And you know what? I didn't miss stick shift all that much. Pause. I did not miss it that much. And I think it was after I drove the manual, I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? Maybe I do miss this. But, like, if you don't drive manual a lot, like, if this is going to be your only car, then maybe get the manual. So overall, let's talk about the other stuff, all right? Because I feel like I'm getting just the manual and the DCT part down a lot. Another point I want to hit on when it comes to this car is the comfortability. The comfortability in this car is very, very top notch. They're about the same. If you notice, I had the 2022. The 2023 has a slight difference from the 2022, which is ride height. The ride height is slightly higher, I believe, like a half a inch or so. It's something that you can't really find. It's something that you're not really going to find out unless you have both of them next to each other. And being that I had the same wheels on it, I noticed, I'm like, hey, you know what? These aren't having the rubbing issue on the 2023. Also, the 2023s are plagued with the 2022s are plagued with the injectors The 23s, not so much. The 24s, I haven't heard much. So, you know, that's a thing too. But I feel like you get so much more power band feel with this. And again, you can shorten this up. You could do the adapter. The adapter is okay. I'd say go on with an actual short throw shifter. That's what I'm going to do here. And man, drivability is just great. Like, I'm comfortable. I have back issues from the last accident, and you know what? Sometimes I get to my house, I don't even get out of the car right away. I'm like, man, I was just sitting in these seats. And mind you, I'm not a big guy. So these seats hug me, but not tight hugging. I would say most of you guys out there probably will be comfortable in these seats. Also, the ride quality. That's another thing. When you get into an Elantra N, the 19s are pretty decent, pretty okay. If you go down to an 18 with a 40 series tire in the front, man, the ride quality changes a good bit. It's not as stiff in mode. Normal mode is in eco is going to be about the same. So wait a second, do I got a glitch going on? I only have normal mode. I don't have eco anymore. What's going on with that? Okay, so it seems I have both of my buttons. This is interesting. I'm glad I'm catching this on video. So both of my buttons are doing the same thing. Like, I don't have eco or sport. Do I have to change it down here? Yeah. So look at this. I didn't realize this. Can you see this? All right, so I have to change the button down here, the drive mode button, to get my normal in sport. That's without the pops and the active exhaust. Open, right? And then you go into eco, and it's a lot quieter, you know? That's where you're gonna get the best. As you can see, I'm doing 36.4 miles per gallon. I've been driving in the city, but it's a steady like 45, so you get that. And okay, maybe I have to configure the steering wheel buttons. I did not know that. That is interesting. So I could just press both buttons, either one. Like, I guess they did that for comfortability. You learn something new every day. So again, if you're on the fence, right? If you're thinking, hey, I like the Type R, I like the Integra Type S, I like the Elantra N, I like the GR Corolla, I like the WRX, and I like, what else is there? The Golf. I forgot about that. Sorry, Golf guys. The GTI or a GLI, right? Here's my list, right? When it comes to the car that can do everything, right? I'm going to get it. This is a little biasness, but I've driven some of those. I'm going to have to refresh myself with the GTI. I've only driven the Mark 7.5, and I've driven the FK8 Type R. I have not driven the new FL5. If any of you guys would like to do like a little bit of a collaboration and you got an FL5, I'll be more than open to doing that. But from what I hear, the FL5 is very, very, very similar to the FK8. You know, just a difference in the exterior, a little interior change, but the drivability is the same. The motor is pretty much the same. You know, when it comes to cars that can do, I'm gonna put the Elantra N top, right? But also at a very near second, and sometimes right there with it, I'm gonna put the GTI. Like, believe it or not, the GTI, in my opinion, that motor, that EA 888, that is the top 4-cylinder out right now, right? And you say, hey, Jay, wait a second, but the K20, that K20 is making 600 horsepower. Like, you see, I forget the name of the company, but they just did like 600 horsepower out of a Type R with an upgraded turbo, you know, injectors, fuel system, water meth injection, full bolt on, the whole nine. that is impressive on a stock motor. And I wish the Elantra can do 600 horsepower on a stock motor, but the truth is we can't. But you know what? From what I've seen, guess what? The GTI in the Elantra N does not need those high horsepower numbers to achieve the same times that these 500, 600 horsepower K20s are doing. So the Integra Type S, the Civic Type R, those are the big dogs when it comes to making the power. But putting the power down, I believe, seems to be a struggle. Now, if a Elantra and a GTI was at 600 horsepower, I bet anything that those cars will be in the low sixes. Uh-oh, we got a car that wants some. Let's see. Hold on. Flashers on for him. These freaking M340s think they got something for me. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to pull that off of the dash cam footage. Like, slow your roll, dude. I get it. Look at that M340. And again, it's times like this that makes you love this car. We caught that, excuse those pops, we caught that on video. Man, it would be nice to see that guy out there. He really tried to pass and I just downshifted and was gone. Was freaking gone. So, like I was saying, I'm sorry about that interruption, guys. But, anyway, these cars can be low sixes, 60 to 130s, okay, with 600 horsepower. Guaranteed. The Type R, I believe, will still be a 7-second car, depending. Now, if you got a Type R out there, prove me wrong. If you have a Integra Type S, prove me wrong, please. I'm always up to learn more about any car, because at the end of the day, I'm not just a Hyundai guy. I am a pure car guy. Like, at the end of the day, I still want myself a Gen 3 Coyote with an ESS, a T56 Magnum XL. I'm still getting that. You know, there's a possibility I still may get the GT 500. God, my radar just goes crazy. This thing picks up so far. This is the Uninen R8. But, you know, prove me wrong. I'm always open. But from my experience with these cars, like, I've raced a ton of Type Rs at this point. And the only person I know with the Type S that's pushing the Type S is Mark. That is, he has a YouTube also. Check out his YouTube channel. I'll leave it right here. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I love the Integra Type S. It looks the best out of all of them, I think, right? That's my personal opinion. It's just that price. Whoo, that price is hefty. You know, if I wanted to spend in that 60 range, 60, I would have a Mustang. I definitely would have got just the GT500, the GT350, or, you know, that's 10 more grand away from the GT500, and those are cars that's running 6s stock, you know? So if I was after just the speed, you know, then that would have been the car that I get, but that's not the case. But, you know, again, when it comes to owning this car, right? You got to think about it. Your insurance is not going to be as much as some of those other cars, because at the end of the day, this is still an Elantra N, right? So now they fixed it, whereas on the insurances now, every insurance is different, but my insurance is still $150, even though regular Elantra base models, so like those what do they go by? What are those trims? The SE models, and you know, those that still have the key that get stolen a lot, those still have a high theft rating, and it's still a little bit more to actually pay for the insurance on those cars. You know, that makes it a little bit more. But since this is the N, and they know this has a little extra safety features sometimes with certain things, this makes this really affordable to own, right? Depending on where you buy, you get free oil changes for I believe up to 20,000 miles. Some of them give you lifetime oil changes. I don't go through that. I put 540 in this thing, 5W40 Multo. And honestly, owning this thing has been a breeze. Now, we have had some issues. Don't get me wrong, we definitely have had some issues with this car. From the factory, the turbo was a little wonky. It did not last long. Also, the water pump for the turbo, called the auxiliary water pump, was bad. That happened to go crazy on me. And you know, I paid out of pocket because I didn't feel like having to wait for Hyundai to fix that. And also, Hyundai is weird when it comes to mods. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, no, a downpipe can't void your warranty, an intake can't void your warranty. Your warranty, sorry guys, your warranty can only be voided if they can prove this is what the cause of your engine is. So if you put water meth injection on your car and your engine just decides to quit, if they see that pink residue because you're using that boost juice and you left the meth on, guess what? They're not going to cover it. That's the way that works. But a downpipe, nope. Downpipe, nah, you're good. Intake, you're good, right? The sweet spot for these cars are intake, downpipe, and your tune, whatever tune you're going to choose. Of course, I'm going to say go with cherry. We got these sweet ass cams coming out the back. Come on. So, reliability. I'm going to be honest with you on this tune right here, right now. You see the way we left that M340, okay? And that M340 was definitely tuned. I heard him popping a few minutes before I started this video. So he was behind me for a while. And he was popping at me. Those don't do that from the factory. And I could hear the turbo through the exhaust. He got a downpipe on that thing, okay? So you got to figure that car is a, you know, higher 400 horsepower car if he's on E, if he's on E. I didn't smell it, so I can't say. But this car should be making around 500 horsepower. That's what Tristan told me. I'm gonna have to get that theory tested because I gotta take it to the dyno. Let's see what we make. I don't know if it's 500 wheel, 500 crank. But either way, this car is an animal. I did not do any 60 to 130s, but we're not talking about tuned stuff right now. Overall, reliability wise, this car has not left me stranded, even with the clutch issue. And mind you, the clutch issue I had is because of me. I paid for that RTS clutch, and I decided to use that slave cylinder. So even with the clutch going out, I still was able to get home and then get back to the dealership to have one of my friends check it. Shout out to you, Keith. And still drive it back home. All right? Even though the clutch would be going to the floor sometimes. But these cars are very, very resilient. These are very good cars. I still recommend it full force. And again, Elantra on top. GTI is right there, if not right there, right? Then I got the Integra Type S or the Type R. I do have those over the GR Corolla. The GR Corolla is going to be last. in my opinion, just the way they take with power, and they have been having some issues from what I've been seeing. They do ride harsh, okay? If you say, hey, they don't ride harsh, and you own one, take a ride in a GTI or an Elantra N, and you'll see why I'm saying those other cars are harsh. The WRX is on top of the GR Corolla for me. All right, so that's where I have all those, you know, put at. If you want to make power, you want cheap power, this is the way to go, right? 360 wheel horsepower can be obtained with downpipe, inlet. If you want, you can have a stock intake. You can do the 6 thing and a high pressure fuel pump, right? And that will reliably get you 360 horsepower. Now, you can be 350, blah, blah. You can run race gas if you do the injectors or ethanol, you know, all that stuff. But I know what I'm talking about with these cars. All right, now I've been here. I was one of the first to own this car. It was the DCT, but still. So I know what I'm talking about, manual or DCT. So, again, I love this thing. No, it is not no Mustang. It is not no Challenger. There is no replacement for displacement. I love this thing. And I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm gonna keep recommending these cars. So, hopefully, you enjoyed this little POV go off, or, you know, my iteration of how this car has been for a year. Oh, look at this thing. What you want to do, buddy? Let's see what he wants. Y'all want to see what happens with this Jag? Let's see. He's going around. If anything happens, I'll get it off the dash cam. I'll get it off the dash cam and insert it. Up, type R down over there. Let's see. But I'll insert it. Thank you guys for watching.